exquisite innocence of God. In this moment, in this perfect, holy, complete moment, all is well. All is harmonious. All is peaceful. All is light. In the seeming journey of remembering, the call of love is to focus all attention on peace and harmony, ease and perfection, joy. Answer this call, and you will remember. Answer this call. Every moment is the divine opportunity of answering this call to love. In this perfect moment, finding the yes of the heart to invite all of humanity into your heart, into the center of all creation. And the call to this love is to not discriminate one to the other, that no one is less worthy, that no one is more damaged, bringing love and harmony and peace. And the power of love speaks through your yes and connects through your yes. The power of love is within you. The power of forgiveness is within you. The power of God is within you. Let it come through the heart's forgiveness. Let it come through the yes. To see all beloveds, the willingness to see and to accept and to embrace all beloveds in complete equality, complete harmonious oneness. The forgiveness of love, to forgive the mistaken identities that have been agreed on, and to forgive the belief in death, and to accept eternal life. The willingness to relinquish all beliefs of differences, all circumstances, all values, all degrees, all approvals and disapprovals, all judgments. Surrendered into the bonfire of love, the yes of transformation, the yes of accepting the miracle of love. Breathing, breathing in this moment fully and deeply. Breathing into your heart, into the heart center. Breathing into every cell, inviting every cell to awaken, to join and return to the truth of love. Surrendering the past through the breath into the hands of God. All perceptions of past identity, past beliefs of battle and difficulty, past beliefs that say, I am separate. Finding that yearning and that devotion within the willingness to surrender. Breathing. Breathing into love. Breathing through the throat, surrendering the neck, and willing to receive the healing balm of love. Breathing into the spine, surrendering the spine into the hands of God. Breathing into the shoulders, arms, and hands, everything being let go into God. Breathing into the heart, inviting the heart to come forward, open and available, ready to offer love in this moment to everyone and everything. The willingness to come back into union, to remember union. Breathing. And breathing into the belly, surrendering all the organs into the hands of God to be used for love. No longer willing to hold anything in separation as a separate identity. Breathing into the hips and thighs, knees, calves, ankles, and feet, all surrendered. And finding within the heart the prayer, the willingness to be the instrument of love, to express love through the body, to express love in every moment. Surrendering the emotional body into the hands of God. Inviting the emotional body to be filled with joy, harmony, peace, compassion, all expressed into love's union. Breathing. And breathing into this moment and affirming that here in this infinite circle of love we are one. Love remembered. Love accepted. Love expressed. Breathing and affirming that this sanctuary is filled with love. This universe is all of love and nothing else exists. There's only one presence here. It is the life force of God, willing for this life force of truth and love and peace and harmony to be expressed, to be accepted, to be recognized as all that is. Breathing, allowing one heart, one breath, acceptance, resting. Allowing this prayer to be your prayer that sings in your heart. Let it sing in your heart all day long, affirming, focusing, embracing, in deep communion, the truth of love. Come along, brother, let's go on this path of light and love. Come along, sister, let's go on this path of light and love. With our Father and our Mother, and letting all pain go. Let us pray and work for this goal. It's the task of our lives. I see the Spirit, I see my soul, I see the light in me. As my heart opens like a flower, I become the living God. I create and I am created within the oneness of all. I create and I am created within the oneness of all. If you ask for your heart to open like a flower, love will always answer. But you have to truly want it. You have to find the willingness within. And love, God, the Spirit of love will always answer that yes, through all divine beings, seen and unseen. Willing for the heart to open like a flower. No longer willing to keep the heart hidden in the belief of the need for protection. Take my love. Take this heart. And let it melt into all creation. Nothing kept separate. O my divine Holy Mother, you're here with us now. Please open my heart. Open my heart so that I can see. Come and guide my life, O Blessed Mother. Come and show the way to the light, to all beloveds. Come to show the truth of love. Come, come and give light to those who have forgotten how to see. Come to give light to the heart. Here I receive you, prostrated at your feet. My heart I give to you, and I ask you for deeper faith and trust. I say yes. I ask you for faith here within my heart. I ask you to recognize the light, O my Blessed Mother. Please guide all beloveds, for us all to come to the realization of true love. Help us to remember love. Oh minha Senhora Mãe, Senhora da Conceição, venha agora conosco, abrir meu coração, abrir meu coração, para eu poder ver, vem guia minha vida. Ó Virgem da Conceição, aqui eu te recebo, prostrado vossos pés, meu coração te dou, te peço a minha fé, te peço a minha fé. Dentro do meu coração, te peço a minha luz, ó Virgem da Conceição, guia os meus irmãos, para todos juntos chegar no porto divino, depois que soubemos o amar. I ask for deeper faith. I ask for deeper surrender. I ask for the help. Guide my way. When there is this calling for help, when there is a calling to be led, to be shown the way of love, love will always show the way. The calling, the inviting, the praying that says, I don't know the way, show me please. Help me to recognize the false so that I may choose love. Help me to recognize what I've made up in the name of fear so that I may choose love. Help me to recognize the strategies that I use to protect. Help me to remember love and to choose love. So Hafiz is offering a calling to go beyond the knowing in every way. I wade out into other forms. It used to come and go as it wanted, it seemed, love. It left me feeling helpless. I wondered if there might be some kind of leash I could slip around its neck to remedy that situation, cherishing every moment as I did, not wanting love to wander off. An idea occurred to me to hold God accountable when He said, "In my image I have made you." I demanded to see that. I started to pick at His house to see more of myself. Waves of Him now greet my shore. I wade out into other forms of myself, and I swim in what I never thought I could. Inseparate is any creature or object from light, from the ocean. This became my discovery. The pain of the belief of separation only comes because you see yourself as a body, unable to wade into the true existence of love. But you have to want to wade into the true existence of love. You have to want to step beyond the little fence that you've put around your identity and want to go and plant yourself at the house of God. And the willingness to wade out into other expressions of myself. That there is nothing that is not the truth of love. That there is nothing that is not the truth of who you are. The world of limitation that is made out of the beliefs of separation keeps saying, I am this, I am this, I am this. And I have my past to prove it. But the healing of love is from the willingness to step off of that edge of what you think you know and to let yourself be taken into all expressions of love, to melt into every tree, to melt into the ocean, to melt into the earth, to melt into every beloved. Do not want to hold anything back as I am over here and you are over there. And this is there and this is me over here. But the willingness to let go of the constructs of limitation and separation. The ego says, oh, that's not a good idea. Let's stay contained here and stay where we know things. Let's stay where everything makes sense, even if it's pain and suffering. The laws of God. The laws of God are the laws of love. The laws of love that rule the entire universe. Love. Limitless. Unable to be defined. How can you meet yourself, your true self, without letting go and allowing all of the edges to just melt away? The willingness to melt into love. no longer willing to hold form as your belief of absolute. It isn't about hating the form. It's about allowing the form to return into the melting of love. To not hold it in any sense of limitation, any identity that you know what it is through the senses that have made limitation. The willingness to melt, to join, to commune, to return to the awareness of union. Union would in some way indicate that there was a possibility that there wasn't union. But the natural state of oneness, all is recognized as love. The world that has been made out of limitation, separation, degrees and levels of everything. This is your prison. This is the prison that holds everything presumably intact. But in actuality, it has you constantly looking at the same walls all the time. The same dense walls that seem that this is where your world stops. And you accept it. You accept it because fear screams. Don't go there. Don't give up your beliefs of levels and degrees and time and limitation and separation. You don't know what's out there. The ego constantly is saying, you have to trust in what you know. Only trust in what you know. It will keep you safe. But it never has. It's not possible that it can keep you safe because it is actually all of the nightmares, all of the beliefs of pain and suffering and battle and confusion and suspect. All of it is held in these beliefs of limitation and knowing. Every beloved in the journey of remembering, in the belief of separation, has to at some time trust the unknown. You can sometimes tap into the deep remembering within that there is another way of living, that there is another life that you vaguely remember. But it seems to always be just out of reach. And so trust is essential. The trust of love, the trust of the truth of love, the faith that heaven is here, and that heaven is everything. All beauty, all perfection, but everything as one. Nothing missing. And in this divine perfection, the belief of death disappears. The fear of death disappears. The fear that you believe that you have to hold on to something because you might be without. But to really trust, to really accept that everything is already here. All of love is here. There's nothing missing, but to accept it, to truly accept it. Beyond the screaming of the ego that says caution is the way. Caution makes sense. The devotion of your heart to truly want to let go of caution, to truly want to throw caution to the wind, and accept that only love exists at all. In my image I have made you. This is the calling from creation. I have made you in the image of love because you cannot be anything else. But when you see yourself as a body, you see yourself as temporary. You see yourself as able to be destroyed, is able to be hurt. And then caution says, yes, that's right. That's the truth. And all of this caution is held in all the likes and the dislikes and all of the approvals and disapprovals, thinking that you're making a safer world. But all the while, fear is growing, growing, growing through those likes and dislikes, through those approvals and disapprovals. Thinking somehow that you can hold on to a world that you're making in separation, but it never works. To be born again is to let the past go and look without condemnation upon the present. To be born again. That's a term that gets used, thrown around a lot. Born again. To be born again is to remember the truth of being the divine creation that actually has no beginning and has no end. Love cannot be born, but to be born again is to remember. But to remember is to let the past go. Everything of the past. Why is this so important? Why is this so essential to let the past go? Because everything that you see through, everything that your senses tell you is coming from the beliefs of the past. The beliefs that somehow your identity was made out of the past. That somehow your identity was made out of a life with others that somehow got changed, got disrupted, got pushed around, got damaged. So when the beloved, when God says, let go of the past and look upon the present without condemnation. Condemnation doesn't show itself as condemnation all the time. Condemnation shows itself as any type of upset, any type of disturbance that says there is no joy, there is no happiness, there is no tranquility, there is no peace in this moment. Condemnation. Condemnation that comes through the past. Because this is where all condemnation comes from. Everything that you see in this world through the lens of difficulty is coming from the past. Mm-hmm. It has no place else to come from. But once you're aware that, oh, that's the problem. The problem is I'm not present. I'm in the past. I'm reliving the past again and again and again and again. Because there is a determination to be right. There is a determination that if you let those beloveds go, that you believe need to be condemned, you will lose. Because everything in the ego says, I so want to prove that I was right, that they are the problem, because I am so afraid of the self-hatred that is within. I really want it to be somebody else. I really want it to be a problem that is a condemnation of others. And yet, every ounce, every tiny nano little amount of condemnation, of finger pointing, of this is the problem, they are the problem, is always a self-condemnation. That's really what's happening all the time, is self-condemnation. When we believe that there is a battle going on with others, it's always coming from the past. Mm-hmm. And it is because we believe that we've been imprinted with sin. Everybody believes that they've been imprinted with sin from the past. The vow is, I will never be like them. I will never be that bad. But we have to hold them in condemnation in order to feel better, that we are innocent. And yet, it's all innocence. It's all innocence. But everyone has to come with you into the innocence. You can't accept innocence for just the identity of just yourself. Every time you try to Embrace innocence. The past is screaming, oh yeah? What about this? What about that? What about this imprint? What about this legacy? You have to bring everyone from the past into love, to see the innocence of every beloved, to accept innocence. Innocence, untouched, untarnished, unchanged from the truth of love. To remember love, you have to give up the idea of conflict entirely. Yikes. To remember love, there can no longer be conflict. I remember one time I said to a beloved, you can't be a little in love. This was very offensive to this beloved. There are no degrees of love. You may think that there are degrees of love because you think that there are degrees of hatred. But love is all-encompassing. Hatred does not really exist. But to remember love, you really have to give up the belief in conflict. Now, some beloveds see conflict as obvious things, like regular fighting. But conflict is holding a judgment, a thought, an approval or disapproval of someone or something, some situation. This is all conflict. And the conflict that you believe in comes because you believe that you have to control your world. That if you don't, you're in danger. Because it's all well and good to have spiritual truths and to say spiritual truths. But to trust and put your life into the hands of God is to release all conflict, all beliefs in conflict. The laws of God, the laws of harmony. These are the only laws that there truly are. The laws of love. The rules of the world that have been made in a perception that there is a need for protection, that there is a need to be defended because you have proof, you have your past, and everybody's in agreement. But if not now, when? Will you trust and step into the relinquishment of conflict? The belief that conflict has any worth, that it will bring you something. We have to believe in conflict if we believe that we need to be in control. Because then we have to check everything out all the time to see if we approve of it, we disapprove of it, if this is going to be hurtful, painful. But it's all built on a world that is in agreement with conflict. And it's all living in the past. And love is just right here. When you surrender the past, which can be 2 minutes ago, but when you surrender the past, you are surrendering your identity. That's really what you're surrendering. You're surrendering your knowing and all identity of your world and the rules of the world. And then there's nothing but the present, where love exists, right here, right now. Right here, right now, what is there? What's happening? What do you believe in? What do you see? It seems like you're sitting in a separate chair. It seems like there are separate identities. It seems like there is time. Nighttime, daytime. All of that is to be surrendered into the laws of God, into the eternal light of love. So when Hafiz is saying, waves of God now greet my shore, I wade out into other forms of self. This is the letting go of construct. It's the willingness to open to the vastness of love and not have limitations and restrictions made by a belief of identity that says, I am this and I can't step past this. And everything that I identify with is solid, is here, but it's also just temporary. Mm-hmm. And that temporariness is not you. The self, the divine self, is not temporary. But can you accept that and walk out into other forms? And I swim in what I never thought I could. I swim. How is this possible to open these doors? It's the yes. Take me. Take me. Take this mind. Take this identity. And let it be disintegrated. Now the ego would say, oh, I can't let that disintegrate. I can't function in the world if I disintegrate. So little is trusted in love. Love is not going to leave you without. The power of love can take you into disintegration and then reassemble everything so that you can function in the world. There is nothing that love can't accomplish when it's most helpful. There's nothing. The willingness to be taken by love, to allow the forms to move and weave, it's all you. But it's to step past that identity of limitation. When you meditate, what is the purpose of meditation? It's peace, to find peace, to drop into peace, to rest in God. But it's also to step out of identity, to let the universe open. not with the mind of construct that says, I will do this and I will do this. No, just in the vastness. Let me be taken. Let me go. I say yes. I will go. And yet I'm not going at all because I'm already there. But it's letting go of the constructs. Inseparate is any creature or object from light, from the ocean. This became my discovery. We look on pioneers, we look on those that have the courage to go and explore. Explore. Let go of the constructs and allow the exploration. Let God take you into divine exploration of all that is love. All of its beauty, all of its perfection, all of its divine creation, wanting to step out of those limiting identities of edges and expand into everything, because everything is love. When you walk with blinders on, what are those blinders about? What are blinders made for? They're to keep you believing that your world is just this big, just right where your blinders are. Mm-hmm. So you don't see anything else, and you don't mm-hmm. wonder, you don't open. No, I got to stay right here. I got to stay with these blinders on and live in my little world that I've made that I can control. But this is all fear. And there isn't any control. There isn't anything to control. Everything that's trying to be controlled is the belief of battle. Everything that is trying to be controlled is to keep you safe, to keep the body safe, because you believe that you're the body and that you are so limited. But you are the divine, not the you of the little you that says, I am this, but I am. Mm-hmm. I am. And I'm willing to be taken. It isn't you going someplace and deciding where you're going. It's letting yourself be taken into love. Show me the way. Show me the worlds. Show me the universe. Show me the way back home. Into the heart of all creation. Into the innocence. Into the beauty, into the light. Yes. Mm. Take me. And in that yes, love takes you. Because for a moment you let go, you drop, that you believe you're in charge and that you have something to protect. It takes great faith. It does. It takes great faith to trust that love is boundless, eternal, untouched by anything that has been made in the belief of pain and suffering and the belief of separation. But at some point, every beloved has to come to a place of saying and recognizing, I have nothing to lose. Mm-hmm. I have nothing to lose by saying yes. I have everything to gain in a sense of remembering. I have nothing to lose because everything that I'm holding is being recognized that it has really no value, no worth, nothing to protect, nothing to defend, nothing to win. Take me. Take this me that I think I am and let it disintegrate into love, easily and effortlessly. The power of love. This is transformation. This is revelation, where you are opening to the awareness of the beauty of God. Mm-hmm. And that it's always here because you're nothing else but that beauty. Mm-hmm. Nothing else. Accepting. Can you hear the voice of love? In that question, can you hear the voice of love? The answer is always yes. You're totally capable of hearing the voice of love. It's will you hear the voice of love, the voice of spirit, the voice that will lead you. Will you? Do you want to? But there's no question, can you? How can it be possible to not hear the voice of love when the voice of love is the truth of who you are? Whatever the concept that's been made up that says, I can't hear the voice of love, I can't hear the guidance of love because I just don't. Well, that belief, that knowing, is the defense system. But go underneath it. Go underneath that declaration, I can't hear the voice of love, and really see, I don't want to hear the voice of love. There is nothing in anyone who cannot hear the voice of love. You have to listen, and you have to enter into that wanting. And that wanting, it's like being in a classroom, in a schoolroom. This is your schoolroom. Your world is your schoolroom. And in your schoolroom, the happy student listens with devotion, listens with an attentiveness, because that divine student wants to hear the divine teacher that is leading. And so everything is geared to hear that. So what steps in the way of that hearing? It's just the mind. It's the I know. And that I know is being chosen. That's the key, is to recognize that it's being chosen. when you don't hear the voice of love's guidance, when you aren't available to hear the voice of love's guidance, it's because in that moment you believe you know something, and your attention is taken by your knowing. Whatever it is, figuring things out, having a plan, being concerned. Figuring things out is one of the favorites for sure. No, I gotta figure this out. How long have you been figuring things out? And how well has it worked?
Yeah.
The ego has a very funny plan. The plan is to throw out morsels. While you're trying to figure things out, you get morsels of success. Because if the figuring out was always obviously destructive, you'd be aware of it. It wouldn't take you 50 years. It wouldn't take you 100 years. It wouldn't take you 500 years to go, oh, I'm still in the same place. I'm still figuring out everything in the same way. But the ego throws out goodies of believing that you're making progress by figuring things out. And in those moments of seeming progress, you have the sense that not only are you making progress, but that you actually have control over this. That you're getting things in order. But you always come back to the same place. You come back to the same place that says, I am alone. I am separate. I am without. I am unloved. The spirit of love can use time for healing. It can use time for healing because time is completely a temporary identity form. Time holds the belief of birth and death. That's its function. It holds the belief of progress. But since you believe in progress, the spirit of love can use time so that you can step deeper and deeper and deeper and deeper into love. Letting go, letting go, letting go, because you believe so much in time. There was a teaching of Jesus that said, it would be most unkind to believe that you are John 1 minute and Peter the next in transformation. Because you'd freak out. So healing, the spirit of love can use time and let you come in and let you believe that there are movement and more healing and more healing and more healing. It's just being used because you believe in it. You could wake up right now, completely. But again, there could be a freak out in the sense that you are afraid to let go. So in the kindness of love, love uses time and lets you come in to step in more and more and more. But let the Holy Spirit use time, and you relinquish time into the hands of God, surrendering time to be used for love. Surrendering time and letting the divine wisdom of love orchestrate how time is used instead of you using it. Because I can guarantee you that when you use time, you use it to put the brakes on. You want to control how healing is going to occur and how it's going to unravel and unfold. But healing is, yes, take me, and I'm going to trust that in time everything will be used for love. And I just show up, get in the sidecar, and let God drive. Putting every situation wholly into trust, the trust of love. What situation in your life, in the everyday life, there's situations all day long. And you can surrender, and you're called to surrender every situation into the hands of God. Into trust that it will unfold in perfect harmony if you could surrender it. Can you accept that God's will for you is peace and joy? There is nothing in love, there is nothing in God that does not want your happiness. There is nothing in healing that does not want your happiness. Nothing. And the journey can be given to happiness. The entire journey of what looks like a journey in time can be given to happiness, can be given to joy. It's the choice. But it's the recognition that the pain and suffering is not coming from healing. The pain and suffering that you believe in and that you experience is the resistance to love. It's the identity of being right. I know I'm right. I know this is who I am. I know that this was my past. I know who these others are. I know what everything is. I know what it's all about. No, we don't. And that's the way of healing. I don't know. I don't know. I've made up a world. I've made up a world that has never brought me to a place of peace. And I'm willing to let that world go. I surrender. I surrender the world and open to the world of love. To the true world. To the true universe of love. Beyond the universe, everything. All of love. Nothing out of harmony. Nothing out of peace. Nothing limited. Nothing missing. The acceptance. And in that acceptance, I wade out into other forms of self. I wade out because I'm no longer afraid of being led. So I wade out and the light leaves. And I let go of all the edges of limitation that seem to be held in the belief of separation. There's nothing to be held, nothing to be afraid of, ever. And ultimately, as you let yourself wade out into these divine forms of self, the identity of the belief of death begins to fade away. Because that's what everybody is afraid of. The fear of death. Everything that is feared is about the body, the harm to the body. And the way out of that fear is to recognize there is no death and to accept you cannot die, cannot be diminished. Mm-hmm. There's nothing to lose, nothing that's missing. There is no death. Can I accept that? Can you accept that? That's the key. It's the leap of faith and the willingness to move easily and effortlessly as the divine. Fading into everything and moving into everything is the brilliance of love. Wading out from the edges, out from the shore, into the divine movement of love that is all self, all light, all love, nothing missing. And in this wading out, and I swim in what I never thought I could. Mm-hmm. It's to swim, to let yourself swim into the divine universe. And trusting that if you let go and swim out into that universe, God isn't going to leave you stranded. Everything is in perfection. Moving in and out, easily, effortlessly. No limitation. Mm. And in this moment, everyone in the belief of separation lives in the belief of aloneness, loneliness. Everyone is wanting and then yet so afraid of connection. And yet you can join with every beloved right now. Right now. There is no limitation for anything, for anyone. Any longing that there is to connect with someone, that longing just says, I know something. That longing can be given to the Holy Spirit. Let me recognize and join in oneness with every beloved. Let me step past the belief of this separate identity and recognize there's just one heart. One heart. All of love. No separation. All equality. All union. And there will be no sense of loss. What would you think you would be losing by joining love? Mm. Losing a separate identity? The separate identity that you have believed in will fall away because it was never really there to begin with. It was an illusion of separation. This the mind cannot understand. And yet, it's the call to love. I am willing for all the beliefs of separation to fall away. I say yes to love. I say yes to harmony. I say yes to the truth of oneness. Nothing else is true. That willingness to be taken. Can I hear the voice of love? Yes, you can. Because that voice of love is who you truly are. Will you hear the voice of love? That's in your yes. That's the choice. What will I worship? What will I honor? What will I give my focus to and my attention to? My identity of knowing, of separation, or the voice of love? The yes to remember. The yes to join in love. Trusting that divine love. I am not trapped in the world I see and experience. I am not a victim. To declare this truth, I am not trapped in the world I see and experience. You can believe that you're trapped in the world that you see and experience, and your knowing affirms that. But in the truth of love, in the truth of the laws of God, you are not trapped in the world that you see and experience. And that essential truth is where you put all your attention. I am not a victim. I'm not possibly in any way a victim of anything. To be a victim says something is happening to me, and I am without. But if you put your faith, your trust in the divine laws of God, no matter how they express themselves, you're affirming and accepting that you cannot be a victim or at the effect of what you see and what you experience. And that is the moment when, in healing, your heart is called into the declaration and the right use of denial. In the world, denial looks like what you're trying to hide and what you're trying to get away from in fear. Like you don't want to see your addictions, or you don't want to see your judgment or your hatred, so you deny it and you make it look like something else and you push it away. But the right use of denial is to deny the lie of pain and suffering, and to deny that you are experiencing or seeing a world of conflict. I refuse to join, to accept, because the world of conflict is being made by the belief of separation. The right use of denial. I am not a victim of anything. I am at the effect of what I believe. Only that. I am not at the effect of anything other than what I believe in. And that effect doesn't really have any effect either. Because nothing in you really changes in the truth of love. You can't be altered. You could be determined to hate yourself with vengeance. You could be determined, and most beloveds are. And yet, nothing of the truth of you is being altered by that hatred, because the hatred actually doesn't exist. The hatred is made up. Love cannot leave its source. It can seem like you're in punishment. It can seem like you're in pain. It can seem like you're in hell. But once you pull the plug on the belief that hatred has any purpose or any truth, it all disappears. Because it never was. To live in a nightmare is just like the nightmare that you sleep with. It's just a daytime nightmare. But it doesn't have any more power than the nightmare that you have at night. You can wake up from a nightmare that you have at night, and you can be sweating, and your heart can be palpitating, and you can be shaking and believing in the nightmare even when your eyes are open. But eventually you come back to sanity and recognize, oh, that was just a dream. That was just a nightmare. Wasn't true. I'm still right here in love, as love, with love. Mm-hmm. Nothing's happened. You don't have to atone in the world's identity of atonement. There's nothing to atone for. There's nothing to pay for. There's nothing to win in healing. Healing is just remembering. There's really nothing to heal. It can seem like it because the shedding of a false identity can seem like something very dramatic. Because it's your identity that's falling off. But it's just the shedding of a costume. It's just the shedding. It's like you just unzippered and stepped out of a dream into the reality of love that never changes, that is always here, that is always all that there is. Mm-hmm. The reality of love, the reality of God. Only love is real. Only love is true. Mm-hmm. There was a beloved who asked a question. If I say, I like what I see, or that smells good, or that's a beautiful sound, is this always the ego speaking? Yes. Only because if there is an approval given to something and a decision made out of the past, then it's always the ego. And if there is a dislike as well as a like, then it's always the belief of separation. But to love everything equally, that everything is beauty, that everything is the marvelous light of God, that everything is perfection, and to step past that defensive place of likes and dislikes, because that's where all the pain comes from. I'm going to hold on to a like because I'm afraid of the dislike. But to want to see completely in love, to want to see with the heart, and to really see the beauty and the perfection in everything. Not the form of it, not the taste of it, not what comes through the senses, but what comes through the heart. What the senses use is because the senses are part of the illusion. The senses are the temporary. They belong to the body. So what you see is through limitation. What you taste is through limitation. What you hear is through limitation. So surrendering all the senses into the hands of God to be used only for love. And to no longer see difficulty, to no longer see separation in any way. All is love. Humanity has used likes and dislikes for all of the belief of separation. Down to the nitty-gritty of, I like this behavior, I don't like that behavior. I like the color of this person's skin, I don't like the color of that person's skin. And it goes on and on and on and on. And you may say, well, no, we're past that. But it's all still the same in the sense that it separates, that it makes a distinction between something liked and something not liked. And everything is love. In the moment, everything is perfect. You can use this with anything. If there is no fear of death, if there is no identity with death that says, I am going to be without, then everything becomes the ease and the grace of the moment. Can it be used for love? Everything can be used for love. Everything. You fall down and break your leg. Can it be used for love? Absolutely. If you're available. Now the ego would say, oh no, that's ridiculous. This is under the category within the rules of the world that says breaking your leg is never a good thing. It has nothing to do with being a good thing, because that would assume that there was a bad thing. It's that it's perfect, because it can be used for love. And the form of it itself has no meaning. It has no identity in good or bad. It's just allowing and accepting that the form shifts, the form changes, and it all can be used for love. And it is all then transformed into love, out of the belief of separation. There's always pain in likes and dislikes. You may not get the pain in the moment when you've given approval to something. Then you think that there's benefit, like a hit of pleasure. But when you have a hit of pleasure, it's always to get away from pain. It's seeking something in the world to take you away from the belief that you don't have enough, that there isn't enough, that you are not enough, and that you're unworthy of love. But everything is the divine. And the healing is in the letting go of the degrees and levels that everything is given approval and disapproval of, and to accept that everything is perfect. Not in its form, of what the world has made, but in wanting to see the divine in everything and in everyone, and that there's nothing missing. And that whatever's being seen in the belief of separation, you're willing to see through the heart and see the divine instead of the belief of separation. And love will take you there. Love will open those doors because you want to see the holiness, and you want to join, and you want to melt into everything being perfectly one. This can't be understood with the mind, but this is the yes of the heart, the willingness to join. And then everything is beautiful. Everything. You lose your job. Then that's a place of laughter. Well, what does the Holy Spirit have coming up for me now? What healing is here now? What opportunity is this for my healing? I'm saying yes, because it's all I want is to remember. You break your leg. What golden opportunity is here now? What perfection is right here, right now? How can this be used for love? Who will I meet through this beautiful orchestration? You get the flu. The world would say, oh, bad, bad, bad. Don't get the flu. But this is all part of the beautiful healing of love. Let me just sink into this moment and be here and embrace everything and revel in the opportunity of healing, in the opportunity of letting love show me what is right here, what divine orchestration is right here. We don't know, but love is right here available in everything, every moment. The pain always comes from the knowing that says, oh, I know what this is. I have already decided I don't like this. I wanted it something to look different, to be different, because I made up my mind that this is good and this is bad. And that's where all the pain comes from. Trying to hold on to something that's been made up as good and bad. Every situation that you walk into, if it's given to truth, if it's given to the truth of love, peace is inevitable. If it's given to love. This is the calling of love, the calling to walk in the remembering. To say, yes, I am willing to remember. I'm willing to melt into love. In this moment, finding the yes of the heart that is willing to remember love, and getting in the sidecar and letting God drive. Simple. Just, I don't know where I'm going, but God has said, I'll take you there.
Mm-hmm.
And I say yes. Every moment, yes. The willingness to bring this manifestation into the everyday. I surrender. I surrender. The yes to love. So as we close the surrender to each beloved, the willingness to see the divine in each beloved, nothing else. The willingness to embrace we are one heart and one breath.